Hey, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. This is Gramps and Second Lap podcast. This week I'm at 37, 437. Sorry, make sure I'm saying the right number in my head because I was getting prepared before the conversation. Thanks, Ronnie. About 100 miles since our last podcast. Um, Still walking, still trying to share the knowledge and thoughts. Just a quick recap of what we're doing and why we're here. The people that I bring on are intended to sort of be more of a conversation that continues on. So the guest this week is Kado from Tin Wiz. So you can bring on the guest. There he is.
Bring on the dead.
Yeah,
Back from the dead.
I decided to change it and try and be a little more positive. But yeah, I was going to do a Monty Python reference, but I thought better of it. But you brought me to it.
I
Welcome
appreciate it.
back.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
welcome back.
having me.
Super excited to have you here. I'm going to break the ice with the whole. You've been ripping cards. I haven't seen it on Whatnot, so it seems like you're doing kind of a hey, I'm doing in my garage sort of, retro ripping, if you will. But it's been really rewarding for you.
It sure has. I mean, the issue of why I don't do it on Whatnot is I'm like a kid at Christmas. Like as soon as that UPS truck comes in my driveway, I'm ripping boxes. So that's part of it. And I really don't have enough boxes to go do like a 1 hour Whatnot show. And, there's not much to it. So
I was trying to get that. That's where I'm at. I think I actually have the inventory to do a show now. I just don't. I don't know if I've done it, and I don't. I know I haven't done enough because I've not finished the whole. Hey, if you want to sell, click here. I've done a lot of buying and I've done a lot of sliding there to get product and watched people rip. But I think I need to do it once. Like I really do feel like
it's just
you
rip the
know
band-aid off. I mean, the first
yeah.
time we did it, Eric and I did it, and we were ripping packs. We were doing giveaways. The goal was to do I think about like 30 giveaways. And it was basically just you win a pack, we rip it, that's your pack, and we put it aside.
Yeah.
Um, Eric is a very generous person, as you know. And so what turned out to be 30 packs was eventually like basically a whole case that we gave away. And so the hard part is pre-show, I can throw in all those giveaways into Whatnot and have them organized. And then when he
Okay.
says run a giveaway, I can just hit that giveaway. It tells you who the winner is. You associate that giveaway with the pack. The hard part is when then he goes, okay, let's start giving away packs, pack. And now you're having to manually put those in now. So that's
That's what I
the
was gonna ask. Is it a logistics thing? Like I was going to say just having profiles and product in there is one thing, but the logistics of, hey, this just got won by this person, and I have to now make sure not to send it to the wrong human. You're becoming like
exactly
a one man band kind of thing.
100%. Absolutely. And so logistics is huge. And then once the fun stops, then you're having to pack all these things, mail them out, ship them, pay for shipping. Like everything's kind of dealt with Whatnot.
Okay.
But you'll run into some instances where, something happens and it's kind of, but it's a great way for like tweaks to get out there because you could be doing packs like that and you throw in some tweak stickers and then now people get exposure to that.
I love it. I love it. Wasn't even thinking that way. Well, one of the things I had on here was I had on here. One of the things I had written on my hand, for those that didn't pay attention earlier, was we met through V Friends. We met at a VCon. We've gotten sort of exposure there. So I would say we are air quotes, I hate doing that, but I'm going to do it anyways. Web3 people as friends. Yet you're not spending time on OpenSea and hanging out in Discord and doing a bunch of stuff. You're focused in really on V Friends, it seems like. And I don't know, is that the cards? What or is that Gary? What drives you to just be that loyal lobster, I'm going to call it, because I think it's probably on this
I
hat, right?
love it. My loyal lobster hat's right there, and it does not look like yours. Yours is definitely worn and faded from that sun.
Daily driver.
That's wild how much has changed. Here, I'll
Yeah.
I'll, I'll get mine quick so they have a comparison of what it used to look like. Right?
Yeah. Mine might have been the dark green, but I mean, it's faded so
Right.
much, and
True.
I've washed it and I've soaked it in the sink, and recently I had to put it on a different button because it was blowing off my head in the wind, and yeah,
Amazing.
it's
It
seen many,
seems some
many,
better
many
days.
miles. Yes.
Right. It's been a long the journey. But yeah, I mean, I'm I've never really, other than hockey cards when I was young with my dad, I've never really been into trading or art or anything like that. And it's only in the last like maybe like 5 years. And I think a big reason to that is finances. Like if you're not in a place to put it into these collector items or art or NFTs, then you kind of like, why am I even focusing on this? And so
That is such a
now that I
mature, very, very mature perspective for a lot of the people that I see in the space. So I'll just pause there, but continue.
it is definitely hard to manage those finances and allocate them to hobby stuff like this. But there is like you were saying, the card that I pulled the other day was a 2 of 2 autographed spectacular card, which is their new series drop. And right now, if you go into eBay of not comps, but like for sale right now, the average price for that is about 2,200 Canadian that I could just flip that card for. So I've basically, if I could sell it for that, which I don't want to because I would in a second, but I have a 1 of 1 boisterous beaver Canada exclusive card, which is it's super like extremely rare. Not only that it's a 1 of 1, but it's a Canada exclusive. So it's like the boisterous beaver, and it's got a whole super sticker, kind of like hollow with the Canadian flag on the back. So like really cool. And the fact that I pulled that is even cooler. So the issue though is that I sent it the beginning of December to CGC, which is in Sarasota, Florida.
Okay. For grading.
And yeah, to get graded, and it got lost somehow, somewhere since December 8th. And there's been an investigation opened. So this might become my rarest card, the 2 of 2. So fingers crossed. Yeah, it's a very
In the same vein, you've watched the Uno cards go from what they were to 5,000 back down into the call it less than $100 or whatever it is. Do you think this has the same sort of outcome? And the mature thing again would be, hey, take the quick investment and let me go buy more cards, or do you think this is one of those ones that's gonna over time appreciate as opposed to be a flash?
I mean, I truly think that anything that you spend your money in terms of art or collector items, whether baseball cards, V Friends, Pokemon, the goal is that you hope that at some point down the road, your investment doubles, triples, quadruples, or in some instances like Jake Paul, you're 1.3 million or whatever it was.
Right.
That's kind of the goal for a lot of people that collect. There's definitely more things that I think that are going to skyrocket, especially in V Friends. And some will just kind of find their place and die off. Like the hype will go. That would be the peak of selling point, and then it'll start to die off. I don't think that cards like auto cards, I think it was his lawyer or some marketing person, someone very close to him, told him that he has to stop signing so many things because he's going to flood the market with so many autographs that they're going to become not valuable. And so over the last, I think that was like 8 months ago. And so I feel like he started to not auto as many things. So then that will become more valuable, which it should because it's an autograph. But yeah, I truly believe that that these cards are going to go up in value. Same thing with the NFTs. Um, but at the same time, my flip side to that for myself, anyways, is like I'm not having kids, so it's not like I'm starting a collection and being like I'm gonna leave you my Charizard in hopes that it's gonna skyrocket.
Right.
It's only me, so like I'm gonna hang on to things for a little bit and see if they go up and read the market, and then I'm just gonna dump it all. Like I'm not gonna sit like I used to save boxes. I used to every drop of everything, I would buy an extra box and put it aside in my closet, thinking that someday down the road that box is gonna be more valuable and it's gonna blow up and it's gonna be 10 years down the road. Now I just open them all because I'm like, one, I could die tomorrow. So like that's not gonna be very helpful. Two, I don't have any kids, therefore my girlfriend isn't going to benefit from this in 10, 15 years. She doesn't care. Like she's going to be sad if I pass away. And so for me, it's just the fun of ripping stuff, the fun of chasing those hits. I don't spend more than I earn. And if I can flip an auto and come out on top, then perfect. It was, it's for the fun. And I support Gary Vee. Like he, as you know, yourself included, he's changed our lives in so many ways. Like I'm going on like 10 plus years now of listening to Gary, and he is the reason why I get to the video I posted just the other day of me and Eric on the beach. Gary is the reason I'm able to look back from like a bird's eye perspective and go, man, this is yes, because of me. Obviously I do the work. I'm the one that shows up every day, but it's because of inspirational people like Gary that got me to where I am. So if I can reinvest into something that is one positive, all these positive attributes, all the characters are incredible. It's fun to do and it gets more people involved and starts conversations. So like, why not? It seems like a net positive every step of the way.
When you changed my mind, I mean, I obviously have children and a wife that could benefit from these things later. So I'm gonna nullify that as part of your equation and say, I also could be run over by a bus any day of the week. And I have religiously, other than comic one, I've snagged every comic and I've gotten a couple of each. I got double the one where they didn't do the sorting correctly. So I think I've got like 18 of that one, maybe. So and I've ripped one of each batch and they were both the base one. It's a cool comic. But back to the point, I have like 3 Topps Chrome packages from the pre-delivery that's sitting there, and I watched them go up and up and up, and I'm like, yeah, man, I need to get rid of these things. Like it's taking over my closet. That's really the problem. And it's like, man, what are you doing? But I should do that. Anyways, I'm way off on a tangent, but I'm gonna do it. Are you guest hosting with anybody? Is that something that you'd be up for to maybe help me clear some of this stuff out? Okay, cool.
100%.
I love figure that out. Yeah, we should do that. Because I think the ones that I've enjoyed are where there are more than one person. So it's not somebody that's like trying to read the chat and then talk and they've got their family there or somebody else that's
and it is a lot, right? Like I said, like it's like someone's focused on the logistics of stuff and cannot, kind of play into it as well. But like the reality is like I don't need to say anything. We can just throw stuff up and you run the show and you can do things more on the fly because you're not so concerned about everything else that's going on.
Right. I will reach out to you after this and talk about it because I have some stuff that I want to move. Cool. That'd be
It'd
great.
be an honor.
Thank you. You have a special day coming up on Friday.
I sure do.
What are we celebrating?
Thank you for remembering. That's awesome. My 37th birthday. If that's what you're referring to.
I think that's even a prime number.
It's
which is even right.
I was talking to Eric about it, and he's like, "That's a good number," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't. I have a weird thing with numbers. There's some things that sound old to me, and there's some things that sound younger to me. 37 is in between there. I kind of feel like it sounds old, but I'm just getting closer to that 40 milestone, which is kind of
It's the new
exciting and
30.
terrifying
40 is the
thing.
new 30. Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
I'm I'm
It's
45 days. I got prepared for this. I'm 45 days away from my 54th birthday,
incredible.
and I feel 17 until I look in the mirror.
Right.
I'm just stuck in that mindset, and
Yeah.
it's not great when I pick things up I shouldn't pick up or do things that is like a little over aggressive. But my point of
Yeah.
that, happy birthday in advance. But
Thank you.
looking back, you've been doing this Gary V thing for 10 years. What would you tell your 27-year-old version if you could talk back in time? I'm in a bad spot. Sorry. I'm moving to a better spot. Thanks, Ronnie. What would you tell your 27-year-old version of you now that you've 10 years into this? Is there something special? Like mine, just to prime the pump, is your opinion of me is none of my effing business. Like I'm not going to allow you to decide what my behavior and what I think of myself, that kind of thing. Is there something that you would tell your 27-year-old version that's sort of been your biggest enlightenment in the last 10 years?
Yeah, 100%. There's one of Gary's sayings that kind of shifted that whole thing was, I guess there's kind of two of them, but the biggest one that allowed me to go from this introvert kind of mentality to someone who absolutely does not care at all to be on camera in front of people, talking to people, being put into positions. I don't care. And that's just, don't give a fuck about what people think about you. Like just do it. If it makes you happy, just do it. And so very, very on point with the same thing as you. So I just don't give a fuck what people think about me. In a flip side to that, obviously, is like I do care what people think about me in a good way, in a positive way. I want them to think positive things about me. So that's where all the positive attributes come from. But other than that, like especially with social media, like and Ronnie can attest to this because he has that video with Gary of like, just don't fucking care. Don't, like, it doesn't matter what these people say in the comments. They have no weight. One of the biggest things that I tell people when I go to a shop or people ask me for advice on content, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give is these people in the comments do not pay your bills. So then post everything you want to post, because if someone sees it and they come and they buy from you or they get a service from you, that's going to pay your bills versus somebody in the comments going, oh, well, look at how he tinted his window. That doesn't look right. Or you should have done this instead. And you should have done that. All these keyboard warriors do not pay your bills unless you go viral and then, like all of this traction is coming into the comments. Then yes, that is going to bring more views, which does pay for your socials. But in like the grand scheme of things, most people are not going viral off these videos. A good example would be like Tinner battles. Their whole goal is to go viral, to let the whole world know that Tinner battles is a thing and everybody needs to come to it. So haters or positivity is both welcome because they're both going to help the algorithm. Whereas for most people like us, or small branded companies, local companies, all you have to do is get in front of the right person, get in front of your community, get in front of the surrounding area. And that's it. If somebody says negative stuff, fuck them. And then the other thing was to go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I love it. I was gonna stack on top of that just because my ADD will kick in. Elizabeth Sullivan, who's in the V Friends as well, was saying something a little bit different, but on the same kind of point of she was going to post 100 pieces per month or whatever it is that Gary says to do. And she was always kind of hesitant, always hesitant. And her husband looked at her and said, you're not talking to the people that are your haters. Like you're not talking to people. Like if they don't want to see it, that's not your audience. They're going to go away anyways. Like you're worrying about something that's irrelevant. And so I just wanted to stack that on to your opinions. I don't care. People that are in your comments writing hateful things, they're people hurting other people. I mean, I really believe that. And you were going to say one more thing.
The other biggest thing that led to my change with Gary was him saying to not chase money, chase happiness, and the money should follow. The money will follow, and like that could not be any more true, especially for myself, because every step, like when I heard that, I was driving transport in Alberta, absolutely hated my like the job was not that bad, but the owner was absolutely incredibly horrible, a very not kind person, and
Sorry.
it was very toxic. It was bad to my health, my mental health, everything was, and I was like 3.5 years, and the turnaround rate. It's not just me. I was treated pretty well considering all of the other people that would leave after a month, 2 months, 3 months, all the
Right.
time. The turnaround was insane. Um, but anyways, I heard that's when I started listening to Gary because I needed something in my life. Like I needed change. And when he said to not chase the money, and that's basically what I was doing, was the money was paying my bills. It was a good pay. Um, as soon as I switched that is the instant I went into a video that I'd seen like a few weeks prior of someone doing taillight tint. And I was like, God, that
Okay.
looks like fun. It looks so easy and like stress free. And like you're putting sticky stuff on something and you mess up and you peel it off. And like that looks like fun and it looks super cool. So then I
Okay.
started doing that on the side. And then eventually I applied to a sign shop as an installer with like zero experience. And they got sold on me and who I was as a person. And so I quit that job. I took a $10 an hour cut, which was extremely hard, but I was net like the happiest I'd ever been. I was performing incredibly well. And quickly, I think within the 3 months, I went to them for a raise. And then we talked about a raise and basically like profit sharing. So like
Okay.
commission off of each
Yep.
job. When that was introduced, I ended up making way more than I ever made at the other place. And that was like the proof in the pudding for me of like, this can be it. And since that moment, everything has just skyrocketed. So that's a huge one.
I needed to hear that message today. Thank you. And I'm hopeful that other people that are out there heard it as well. It's I was on a different podcast a couple weeks ago and I had someone that was asking me about sales and I'm like, it's something I've been doing for 30 years and there's been some of the most rewarding, also been some of the most brutal and big companies. I can say this. I'm not worried about it. I am actually currently a freelance videographer making content right now. My
I
last
love
day of
that.
work was February 13th. February 13th. Um, and it was sort of like this big company mentality was 150% the year before. The year after was kind of a struggle. I only had three at the time had three customers. So if you in the world have three customers and all of them are having a rough year, it's really rough for salespeople. Anyway, so I chose not to follow the plan of, hey, we want to micromanage the living shit out of you for the next 6 months to try and, do these things because that's part of the process. It's not that you need it. It's not that you as a salesperson have forgotten after 35 years how to listen with your ears and, come up with solutions to help people. Like none of that's changed. It's just because this has happened, whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Like I don't feel like and my gut is like really like letting go as I'm talking to you. So I appreciate the
Mm.
therapy. But it was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. There's some other things that I'm really being drawn to. And so I said no. I've been on my own. My wife's a mess, and that's fine because they're the ones that are trying to make sure that you have food in the pantry and things are the laundry's done and they keep the world upright.
Yeah.
And um at the same time I'm like, hey, just trust me. Like we've been fine for 10 years. Just let me figure out what I'm going to do. And so I'm trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And I love what you've said. So I'm going to go figure out what makes me happy and hopefully it'll be
and
a little bit
and
more
go
than
for it.
$10 an hour or different. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I'll go for
Yeah.
it. So yeah.
I'm extremely proud of you. That is I mean, I think about that like every stage of my life, like even right now with like Tintwiz, like anything could happen, right? Like I'm so aware that whether you're a business owner or you're an employee, a freelancer, it doesn't like nothing is guaranteed. So go all in when you're in it and chase that. Like don't hold back. That's the biggest thing. And then like you said, like if it doesn't feel right anymore, then be okay with leaving that. And that's okay too, because the reality is something that I've realized over the last, I don't know, 2 years is like my book's already written. Like I can't fight it. I'm not gonna do anything that wasn't meant to be. All the choices I make were 100% written in that chapter. And if it's the end of the chapter, then I go on to the next chapter, and that's the way my life is already scripted to be. Like there's nothing that I can do other than manifest and hope and work really hard towards the things that I want to achieve. Everything else
Right.
is just comes and goes like that. That's it. You just kind of dodge the things you need to dodge, and you open up your arms and take in what you need to take in.
I appreciate that. And then my follow-on question to that is, you've had quite a few life changes in the past, call it 2 years, up and including most recently, I believe, moving, which is like one of the most stressful things that you can do in the world. Has there been any of your lessons you've used to make that not the most stressful situation it could be? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny because my mom, I mean, she's known me obviously a very long time, and I
Your
used
whole
to be a
life.
very like my whole life. I used to be a very stressed person, a very like kind of like low patience, very on edge all the time, very like easily um like poked at. Like I could go from being calm to being whatever. And again, like since Gary over these last 10 years, I've learned, and with lots of counseling and lots of coaching and looking up to people that I admire, I've been able to get to a place. And the reason I mentioned my mom is because she's still not used to it, where I am so like, I don't do drugs, but you would think that I'm high on weed all the time because I just don't care. Like I care about everything,
Right.
but I don't like if I get a flat tire, I'm like, okay. If I get a ticket, I go my mom's in a long-term care. I go there and visit her. And instead of getting the parking pass, which I should, I just park and I hope for the best. And I've gotten like about 3 tickets. And I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Like I'm going to get mad at the parking ticket guy because I didn't go get the parking pass.
Right.
So to that, the move has been pretty stress free for me. One, because
Okay.
we aligned it so that it wouldn't be a rushed thing. It was
Okay.
happening on our schedule, especially with how much I travel
Okay.
and work.
Right.
And the reality is the place that we're moving to is my dad's old house. So it's already mine. It's sitting here. It's empty. I'm able. We're about 3 hours away, so I'm able to come up. Like today, I came up and I brought a load of stuff, and so we're moving next month, the 18th,
Okay.
and we're probably about 75% moved in already. So
Oh,
that's been a really easy transition, and it was just like planning and knowing that like there's no stress, there's no anything. Whereas that's not the case for everybody. Like some people are like, we got approved the mortgage, here's the house approval, bam, or we need to sell this house and get out of this house, and there's conditions and everything. But again, I think the same concept applies of it is what it is. Like once you're
right.
in, that's it. Like all that stress, if you're arguing with your wife or your partner or whatever, because it's stressful and whatever, it's going to go away. And then you're going to be like, oh shit, I just got mad and stressed out for all this stuff for no reason because I was going to move in anyways. So,
Right.
yeah, I
I appreciate that. I think I talked about it on one of my spaces. Maybe it was a podcast. We got a flat tire when we went to North Carolina, and my wife was extremely proud of me of how calm I was. And it's the same kind of thing that you were describing. It's like I could waste all this energy to just flame out, and then I'm going to be tired, and the person I'm
That's
with is
right.
not going to be happy, and I'm just going to cause more problems. And it's I don't want to say just roll with the punches, because sometimes you don't want to roll with the punches, but at the same time,
I
the
would say
lesson,
one of my favorite V Friends characters is the adaptable alien, and I think that plays perfectly into this life lesson that I'm trying to or we're talking about is be adaptable. You got a flat tire, okay, roll with it. Go here, go
yeah,
there, do
it,
this.
it wasn't personal. There wasn't a guy that was standing on the side of the road with a black cape on, making sure that you got a hole.
Right.
Be grateful that you have a car that has TPS that tells you, hey, you're losing a pound a minute. You got to get
Yeah,
the shit changed, or you're going to
exactly.
be on the side of the road. And be happy for that kind of stuff. Um,
I want to can I add on to that?
yeah,
I
please.
think that one of the biggest solidifiers of over the last 2 years was last year. I think fairly close to when we had our last show, when my dad passed. When he passed away, it was at like 1 a.m. that he was on life support, and I had to drive 3 hours to go basically say goodbye to him and say like I had to be the one that said that because I'm the one that has his power of attorney and stuff. So
Right.
when I woke up that morning, it was a snow blizzard, like not even a snowstorm. It was really bad. There was already about like a foot on the ground. It was in the middle of the night, so like the plows aren't really busy, things
Right.
aren't really happening, and I had the choice between my lifted truck, which was falling apart and probably not going to make it. I had the Tesla, which is all wheel
Right.
drive, but I would have had to charge at least twice to get there, especially in the cold. And then I was left with my Honda Civic, 2004 Honda Civic with standard with super small little snow tires. Um, that was the safest option in terms of reliability. And so that's what I took. Claire and I started our drive. And when we got
Right.
about halfway on the main highway where I thought things were going to clear up and we're going to be able to make time. And this whole time, like in my head, I'm like, my dad might not be alive by the time I get there. And so and I'm just so calm. And we get on this highway, and there's three snow plows across, plowing the highway, going like 30 kilometers an hour, like barely moving. And in that moment, I was like, I looked over at Claire. I was like, if you ever question my patience, I want you to think back to this moment when I'm going to say goodbye to my dad, and there's three trucks blocking my road right now. And I'm just like, I'm chilling. I'm like, okay, like I can't do anything about it. I can't pass them in the ditch. I can't honk at them. I can't, there's nothing that I can do. This is meant to happen. This is the way it's supposed to be. This is the day. I mean, I get chills talking about it because like it was, I was so aware of the moment that I was like, this is what patience is built on. And I need to carry that for the rest of my life and think back to that moment every single time. So,
I got a little bit of chills as you're talking about it. I think, I'm sitting there going, hey, your dad is aware of this situation at that time. You know what I mean? It's like I
yeah,
know he's holding on for you at that same time, and yeah.
that's it's a
Is
weird one. And
is is
oh,
moving into his place? Is that? Can you hear me still?
yeah, yeah, you're good.
Okay, I was trying to make sure I was in a good place. Is moving into his place? How's that for you?
I would say the first probably like 5 times that I came here, it was like I would come here. So when before he passed away, for the 2 years leading up to that, he had moved out of here basically and went to live with his wife, about like an hour and a half away. She had her own
Okay.
house because she has a full-time job, and he was retired. So like they were like living their own lives, and she would come here on weekends and enjoy the lake and things like that.
Right.
But his health was kind of going down, not to a point where we thought like he was going to pass away,
Right.
but definitely to a point where like he needed some more like daily assistance and watching and stuff. And so I would come up here and just kind of like manage the place and like look at things and look at the water lines and whatever and just kind of do a once over ever so
Right.
often. So it kind of took like 4 or 5 times after he passed of me coming up here to realize that like he's never coming back to this place. This place is in fact mine now, and I carry on this tradition, this torch, this whatever, this life that he created. And what am I going to do? Because again, I live 3 hours away, um, warmer 3 hours away, a little more south.
Right.
And so,
Right.
one, we were going 3 hours more north where I already don't like the snow. I hate the cold. Um, and we're downsizing significantly. We have like 2 acres less than what we had. We don't have a massive garage. We don't have 2 stories. It's a very like bungalow style, open concept with like a small shed in the back.
Right.
It took me like probably until like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, of as I started bringing more of our things in, that now it's kind of transitioned to like, okay, like I've accepted that this is my home. My dad created this for us, and I am incredibly grateful for it. And just like all of the other stuff that he had that I threw out, like clothes or items and things like that, knickknacks that like I'm a super emotional guy. Like
Yeah.
and so every little thing meant something to me. And as soon as I started accepting that they're just objects and they're not actually attached or associated to my dad, in essence, um, the house became that same thing. Like I got rid of his car, which was a big thing because he loved that car. It wasn't anything like crazy. It was a newer Impala.
Right.
Um, but at this point, the house is kind of that same concept. It's like, I love this house. It's where I spent most of my childhood. It was my grandma's before it was my dad's. And like, I spent most summers here on the lake, and it means a lot to me. But if at any point it does not align with our lifestyle anymore, I've accepted kind of that, like, I'm going to die at some point. Again, same thing with the cards, same thing with everything
Right.
else. If this is not making me happy anymore, or I don't feel like this is where we need to be, and we want to move, then we're going to move. And like, it's crazy to think about, but I know that like he supports whatever. All he wanted in my life was me to be happy. That was his thing. So
That's great, and it's a good perspective to have. I mean, it's very healthy to have that perspective. Do you just need Starlink, and then your life is the same as it was in the other place as far as your work is concerned?
I mean, luckily, exactly that. Luckily, I work remotely and I travel. One, the airport is an hour closer to me now, which is great.
Okay.
And two, they have fiber internet here, which is mind blowing to me because we are in the middle of nowhere. And next month, I'm getting a Generac, like a full home generator installed.
Wow.
So because the power goes out like every single time I come up here from being away, the power has gone out at some point. And if my life depends on the internet, then I need something. So it's basically like a smaller version of a hospital generator. So as soon as our power kicks off, it kicks on automatically and life continues on. So that's great. And the fact again that I travel so much, I don't want Claire to be here by herself and the power goes out. And yes, we have a wood stove and we have a gas range, but if she doesn't feel comfortable doing those things, then she needs heat, she needs TV, she needs, the necessities of life when you're
Right.
alone. And so yeah.
That's great. So are those systems, now I'm a nerd, are those systems, have they become pretty affordable? Like, are they $5,000 and then you can run your house for a couple days? I mean, that kind of
So
numbers,
we're
or
getting two big tanks, two big propane tanks.
okay.
Again, because we run the gas range as well. So I mean that uses barely anything, but the
Right.
two tanks, because when it gets colder, it obviously the gas runs off vapor, and when it
Right.
gets colder, those vapors condense, and so you don't have as much vapor. So you can't get away with just one tank because you might need it for a week, and if it's cold, then those vapors aren't going to be there for you to utilize. So we're getting two
Interesting.
big tanks. And then the generator itself is the brand name is Generac, and it's a
Okay.
22 kilowatt per hour. Uh, Installation and everything, it runs 18K Canadian.
Okay. And then
So I mean,
you'll be basically automatically failed over, so you don't have to think about it.
exactly. Yeah, so it's got an automatic switch. I think it's like 15 to 30 seconds of no
Okay.
power being in the home. It automatically kicks on, runs off the propane, and I would say we'd be good for at least a month of full power with those two propane tanks.
That's fantastic. I'm excited for you.
Yeah,
That's like full
yeah,
zombie
it
apocalypse
really
kind of.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great too. It's an easy install. It's super small. It's quiet. And yeah, it's got Wi-Fi too. So if something happens to it, or I want to take a look at what's going on from a trip, and Claire's
Right.
here, or we're both on a trip, then we can maintain that whole system.
That's super cool. All right. I've nerded
Yeah.
out now. Will you do solar there as well then for like sun, or is there enough sun to do like solar backup kind of?
Yeah, I mean, we have too many trees to do solar
Okay.
efficiently. But we do have a dock where, well, the lake that we're on only allows for electric motors.
Okay.
And it's been like that since my grandma was here, since day one.
Sure.
And so the only thing I might do is put a solar panel on the dock at the water to maintain the batteries for the electric motor.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Wait till
I'm going
Tesla
for that
puts
full off grid.
yeah, I was gonna say wait till Tesla puts an electric motor boat in your lake. That would be
I'm on it.
fantastic.
I'm on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, and
And
actually, in addition to that, one of the big reasons too for the Generac is because we have the Tesla. So if the power goes out, then I can't charge the car, and then we're kind of, we're left with one car, of course. But if I have that car at the airport for a week, and she needs to travel somewhere, then she needs hydro
yeah,
for the
yeah,
car. So it's kind of this full circle thing.
yeah, yeah. I'm excited for you. That's cool. And you'll yeah, that'll be fun. Do you fish in the lake?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they haven't, since I was a kid. They would replenish it every year with trout and bass,
Yeah.
and they stopped doing it, I think, like a year and a half or 2 years ago. So the fish are pretty thin these days. It's just been outfished, and I don't know why they haven't added more, but yeah, it is a great fishing place. And like right behind us, maybe 200 feet, there's a river as well. So there's a public boat launch like 2 minutes away from us. So we could go
Okay.
there, put a gas motor in, and that river has amazing fishing as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds.
That's super cool. I'm excited for you. I think I've shared. I grew up in Alaska, so I spent
Uh,
9 years of my youth there. We left when I was in the 10th grade, so um, I understand snow. I understand like what you said. I can't believe I moved up here because it got colder. I'm like, man, I have got the quota for cold. I'm overdone. I don't need any more
done.
days. They are all used up. And it's amazing that we get snow here in Dallas and it shuts it down and I just like I go into hives. Like I just want to
Yeah.
be warm all the time.
Yeah, I feel you. We were close even when I had the business, because like year three of the business, I was like, it was the first time that I traveled. I went to San Antonio, and I was kind of like sheltered ish as a kid. Like I didn't
Okay.
have much exposure to outside of Canada in a way, and so when I went there and I had the business and I saw outside car washes and things, like I was like, these guys have year round business. Why do I not live here? And so Claire and I started talking about just shutting down the business and moving to somewhere like Texas or Florida or California. And then that shifted to, well, why don't I just shut down in the winter and I'll go, say, to California and work with Flat Glass Joe and help him as an installer for the winter because he's going to be super busy. And then I
Right.
come back in the summertime or the springtime and open up my shop again when we're generally in Canada very busy, and just
Right.
continue that process. But since Tintwiz, like it's like an open thing. I can go live in the Philippines. We can go live in Japan. I can go live anywhere. And so, to think that I'm moving 3 hours colder, it caught me off guard a little bit. So
It does feel that way to me too. So if we ever need to talk offline, just you need any pep talks or hey, you made the right. I'm just teasing. You're
appreciate
gonna
it.
figure it out. I hope that I hope you use it as an excuse to figure out how to do more travel and more Airbnb and hey, we've got this home base and we love it, but we're gonna spend 2 weeks in Manila or the Philippines or wherever, and I'll work a couple hours and I'll
Yeah,
do my thing, travel.
that
That's I guess
that's
my
that's that's been a very hot topic for us for sure. Like going to spend a month in the wintertime in California on the beach somewhere, going to spend a month in Texas, and things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
that'd be fun. Last thing, because I know we'll do this again. You're since you brought up Tint Wiz, you brought up Texas, and I'm gonna make sure I don't get run over. You came down, you made a bunch of videos, and it felt like I don't know if I was to say it felt like you were stepping in. It felt like you were going into a new chapter. Is that a good way to describe it?
I guess. I mean, it was definitely the first time in my life that I felt like um, I don't even know, like an actor or
Like
something.
a movie star.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that every day in my life, I guess. But this was more like we want to fly you out to hype this up and like and lack for a better word, use you.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it's funny enough, like, so I try to join as many meetings as possible with Eric and just kind of be a fly on the wall. I just want to be exposed to all this, corporate stuff, this CEO stuff,
Right.
these big decision stuff. And I do a lot of that stuff on the back end myself.
Right.
But I'm always interested in learning more with him. And so Eric and David were having the CEO of Autobahn, were having this meeting where Eric wanted to talk to him about launching Tint Wiz as one of their programs or whatever, and what he thought about it. And so that was the topic. And so we're in this meeting. I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and Eric pitches his idea. David Kratz is like, yes, let's do it. Bam, okay, end of meeting. It was like 2 minutes.
Right.
And then Kratz is like, all right, let's think about this for a second. Let's dream about this. Let's sit back and envision it. And he's like, we want to do some promo videos for our Autobahn dealer conference coming up. And we're doing activities like skydiving. And he's naming these activities. And I'm just like, oh my God. Okay. I'm going to have to I want to go to the dealer conference now. Like, this is amazing.
Right.
And then he's like, all right, so picture this, like Kado does all of the cool stuff and he gets to jump out of the plane, but like, I'm too big and I don't want to jump out of the plane. So like I get left on the ground, and then we go golfing and like, I get like hit with balls, or like I have a really shitty time and he has a really good time. And then we go to the massage place and I get my back waxed and he's getting this nice relaxation massage. And I'm like,
Right.
what is going on right now? Like, what's happening? And Eric looks at me and he's like, yeah, what do you think? Like, can you bang it? Because it was, I think, December 18th. So it was just coming up on like Christmas. And like, I don't take holidays. So I don't give a shit when it is. I'm in. It could have been Christmas Day. I'll be like, I'll be there. And so Eric was like, what do you think? Can you bang out another trip before Christmas? I was like, absolutely. And so I flew out and we did all these activities. And it was again, I say yes to everything, not being a yes man, but like yes to opportunities. And man, skydiving again.
Was that your first time?
Yes. And it changed my life. Like, I jumped, I got down, I was scared shitless, and I was like, let's go back up. So I paid again, we went back up, jumped again. And then I was like, I'm going to start skydiving now. I'm going to get my license and I'm going to start doing solo jumping. And so I get home and I start ordering gear. I order a helmet. I start ordering the licenses and like the program and everything. And then I educated myself on how it actually works. You have to jump at least once a month for like 20, 25 times. And I just didn't have that time in the US to be able to do that. So then Claire's like, one, maybe you should just like sit back and chill and like the adrenaline relax a little bit. But yeah, dude, I was locked on, and I'm like I'm an adrenaline guy. No drugs, no drinking, nothing, nothing, nothing.
Right,
Straight
right.
edge. And like sport bikes are my drug, like speed, like going
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
300 on a street bike and being a menace and just causing trouble, doing wheelies and stuff. Like that is my addiction.
What's your brand?
Skydiving, GSXR 1000s were like my bike from
Okay.
like
Okay.
19 up until I crashed it in 2019. So
Okay.
yeah, you,
I I had an FZR 600
hell yeah,
back in
I
the
love
day. Yeah,
that.
and I laid it down and got it repaired, and then it became a surround sound movie machine.
I like that.
Yeah. My last pair, a buddy of mine had me store his Harleys. He had a couple of his and her Harleys that they got, and then they got divorced, and the Harleys had like 600 miles each or something like that. And I put 3,000 on one and 2,500 on the other, and it was in my garage, and they were just awesome. And then I got married again, and she's like, "No, you're
Uh-uh.
done, no more."
I
So
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, my dad actually he gave me his Harley like 2 years before he passed, and like his knees just couldn't handle it, like holding it up.
right,
It's a big like 1800 Fat Bob, matte black,
okay,
super nice. And that was like I think maybe like a year after I crashed my Gixxer, and he's like, you need to slow down and like enjoy the Harley life. And I rode it twice, and I was like, Dad, like you can take this back. Like I thank you for the gift. I love it, but like it's just not my thing. I can't do wheelies. I can't weave in and out of traffic. I can't hit 300 in it. It's heavy. And like I'm not at that stage yet in my life, but I do have it still. It's in storage right now, and I think that's probably the last thing that I'll ever get rid of. Like I'll get rid of the house far before I get rid of the Harley. Um, but yeah, the skydiving aspect of adrenaline rush compared to a bike was very freeing for sure. Like that same kind of feeling. But man,
you
it
didn't get sick?
unlike
No
oh, it was
nausea, anything like
close,
that?
close
Okay,
for
okay,
sure. Going up, I was like, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. Fuck this.
right,
And then as soon as the door opens, you're like, what is like your body just goes into like what are you doing? Why
yeah,
is there a
yeah,
gaping hole in the side of the plane? This is not okay. Just that alone. And then
right,
he's like, all right, we're going to start moving up when the green light goes off. And you're just praying to God that that bulb is burnt out and that it's not going to go off because you do not want to jump. And then it goes green and you're like, fuck. And then as soon as you get to the outside of the plane, it's just like, I don't even know how to explain it. And then we jumped, and the the feeling of like passing out was overwhelming. Like if the
okay,
parachute or we didn't gain control, I guess, when we did, I would have been pretty close to passing out.
okay,
But he then explained to me that we're getting so much oxygen in our faces that there's no way for me to pass out. So that's a good thing to know. And then the cool thing about where we went is it's a very much training facility. So they
okay,
give you an altimeter, you're looking at the altimeter, you're leveling yourself out, you are checking the altimeter, and at I think it was 3,000, 6,000, 3,000 feet, you go back and you pull your own chute. And so
okay,
they let you do everything, and then you grab the handles, and now you're steering, and the G force. There's another crazy. As soon as you pull the handle and you're coasting, it is so relaxing and peaceful because you're just gliding along. There's nothing
right,
stressful about that. But as soon as you turn, there is massive G force in it, and I had no idea. Like it looks so, relaxing. I
right,
never thought about that. And then, sorry, I'm going to like super in depth here, but it is a life changing experience, and you have to test out your parachute before you land. So you have to test pulling it down and stopping. So
right.
you're basically stalling in midair, and like it's just the craziest feeling of just stop, like you're just weightless in that second. Okay, cool, the parachute works, and you let go, and then you start gliding again. And man, it was surreal, but highly suggest to anybody. It is a very safe sport. I looked at the stats on it because I had to convince my girlfriend and my mom that I was going to start doing it. And
You still
another
have the
fun fact,
helmet?
last one. No, I didn't. It was getting shipped from Australia, and
Oh
luckily they had
wow.
just gone on Christmas holidays, and so by the time they came back, they saw my like cancellation order
Cancellation.
of not getting it. But yeah, another quick fun fact about parachuting is obviously it has a secondary chute, which is
Right.
cool, but there's an actual like explosive device in every single backpack that is set to a certain speed and altitude, and if you haven't pulled your chute by then, it automatically like blows up and deploys the chute. So if you do
Okay.
pass out or you hit somebody midair and you're just free falling, it will automatically shoot out. So fun fact, parachuting.
Interesting. Yeah, I was going to say when I was in the Navy, I was friends with the PRs, which was the parachute riggers, and they would do the for the pilots, and they do the seat. There's some in the seat, and that makes sense that they would have what do you want to call that auto deploy? You know that it's set up
Exactly.
in case you are passed out. Like what?
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that's really cool. I'm glad that you did it.
Uh,
I'm gonna say honestly that I'm glad that you're not gonna start doing it 25 times a year or just
I might.
the odds of the math in my head go up
I
and it's like
know. It's true. You're like chasing trouble. But I mean, it's the same thing on a bike, right? It's not a
I
matter of
know
if, it's when. So it's not a
it's
matter of
when
if your parachute's going to fail, it's when and how you're going to handle that situation. So it's all
that's
about
a
being prepared.
that's a deep life lesson that we will discuss deeper on the next one. I appreciate
I
you
love
making
it.
time for us, friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Robbie. It's
I will
always a
reach out because
pleasure.
I want to talk to you about whatnot.
Done deal. Talk to me about
Okay.
anything.
All right,
Always
man.
here.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right. See you. Bye.
Yeah.